Dueling Dialogues is brought to you by our affiliates at IX Web Hosting. Click the banner on the rightleftchronicles.com to get up to 40% off your first year of the best hosting on the planet. Today's episode of Dueling Dialogue is brought to you by Saucy Eva. GMA's marinade is coming soon to a plate near you to gourmetize your meats and proteins. Coming to you from that once-forgotten artery that pulses through the center of the continental United States and into the heart of the Ozarks, Grace Matthews. Looking in from the northern border, our Canadian friend, along with his countrymen feeling the effects of U.S. political issues, Connor Murphy.
Welcome to Dueling Dialogues, episode 21. I'm Connor Murphy here with Grace Matthews in Springfield, Missouri. Hi, Grace. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I get to see my oldest son today. I haven't seen him in several months. So he's
good.
coming in for about 24 hours.
Awesome.
I'm very excited.
How far away does he live?
He lives 13 hours away.
Oh, wow.
And it doesn't matter how you get there, whether you fly, drive, it's 13 hours. I'm a flyer anyway. I don't like to drive by myself across the country anymore. I used to.
Yeah.
Kind of dangerous.
So how long has he been living in Saskatchewan?
He's not living in Saskatchewan. He's living in South Carolina. Let's see.
That really sounded like Saskatchewan to me.
4 years.
Oh.
4 years. Yeah, he lived in D.C. for a little while, and then he moved down to South Carolina.
Cool.
For that, he lived in Chicago, so he's kind of... Actually, I'm ready for him to come back home again.
Yeah.
You know. Just
course.
a parent, of course.
Yes. So what do we got today?
Well, you know, there's a lot of bad things going on. And yesterday, as you call it, we went black.
Yes.
So today we're going to talk about this Vegas massacre, and also we're going to mention a little bit about the hurricane victims and some of the problems that is going on down in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And we have a little bit of breaking news.
Oh,
but
good.
First of all, I think that we just want to express our condolences to all the victims recently. You know, it's really horrible. I mean, to think about going to a concert and being gunned down from above. The gunman was, in the 32nd floor of the hotel, and shooting an automatic weapon. They are saying this morning that it was an adapted weapon. It's not one that he bought that way.
He modified it.
He had modified it, thank you. Shooting down into 22,000 people. You're going to get a massacre, and that is exactly what happened. Mandalay Bay is a wonderful hotel. I was there right after it opened.
Right.
But it just overlooks this open air arena. I don't even know if you call it an arena, because they set up the stage. When the stage isn't there, it's basically an empty lot.
Well, our thoughts and prayers definitely go out to all the
Absolutely.
victims and everybody affected by this. This is just heart-wrenching. It makes me sick.
Yeah, today they're starting to identify the victims, and they're so darn young. And because this was a concert primarily dedicated to military and first responders, these people were basically all off-duty policemen, veterans or off-duty military. There were a lot of nurses. It's just unimaginable.
Yeah.
It really is. And
there are no words.
There aren't any words. But the shooter, was 64 years old, didn't have a particular party affiliation politically, was not particularly religious, had money, had 2 homes, apartment buildings, 2 airplanes. He was a gambler probably a high-stakes gambler. He had a cache of weapons. Everybody said he was completely normal. He originally made his money as an accountant, and he certainly does not fit the profile.
Yeah, it is odd.
I mean, and if he was an old 64-year-olds are usually country music fans, old military people. That's kind of their group, you know?
Yeah.
That's not going to be their target. So it's baffling.
Yeah, he just snapped. It had to be.
But it was so well planned. I have a hard time saying he snapped. You know, this concert has been going on since 2014. Now, I heard a couple of people say that if you go to this concert, you kind of know what floors you can see the concert on and hear it from your room at Mandalay Bay. So my guess is he probably started planning this last year.
What a sicko.
Yeah, it's very sick. So he had 23 weapons in the room and some sort of hammer-like device. I don't know what a hammer-like device is, but this is what they said, to knock out the windows.
Right. I was just going to say, probably to knock out the window.
Yeah, I don't know what a hammer-like device is, and I guess there was a lot of noise going on because nobody heard him, or maybe this hammer-like device would make less noise. I don't know if that's possible because the windows did not open. So he of course did break out the windows. And my understanding is he shot into the crowd for about 20 minutes before they got to him.
Wow.
And he had cameras in the hallway, so he knew when they were coming and he knew when to take his life. Up to this point, there is no letter, no manifesto.
So it's just all a puzzle.
Logic.
Yeah, it's all a big puzzle.
You know, I told you yesterday, I have not felt, there's two other times I felt this bad when events have taken place. And one was Columbine and the other was 911. I don't want this to become the new normal. Kind of like Columbine, it got nearly nonstop coverage for a month. Now there is an average of a couple of shootings at a school a week, and it barely gets breaking news.
Yeah.
I don't want guys to rent rooms on upper floors near football stadiums and baseball stadiums and concert arenas and start shooting people. It's kind of like you were talking about over the weekend. Another guy rents a truck and starts plowing into people. That's now become the new normal. You know, It started out in France and we were all excited about it and upset. It seems like when it becomes the new normal, they win.
Yeah. And you're going to see more and more.
Exactly.
And I mean,
once somebody does something,
yeah,
it happens more. You have, and I hate to call them copycats because it's so much bigger than that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of diminishing.
This was escalated to, I don't know, where can you take it beyond this? I mean, it's scary to even think that this is the new norm. It is,
and I love concerts. Oh, I've loved concerts forever, and one of my kids loves them. I cannot fathom going around, dancing around, having a few drinks, watching a concert, and needing to be concerned about being gunned down.
Yeah.
One of the last places I took my mother before she got this brain infection that causes dementia was to a Boston concert. And it was an outside arena. And, we were out there in the grass and there was nothing protecting us. Nothing. And it was at a casino and there are rooms. A guy could have just as easily been standing up there. And like I said, it's just, it's mind-boggling to believe that we're going to have to start thinking about that.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It really is. And then we had politicians yesterday wanting to talk about gun control and silencers. First of all, the guy didn't even use a silencer. And if you wonder why I don't want to use his name, is I don't like to give these people that much credibility. His name's already out there. Somebody wants to know. If he wanted his 15 minutes of fame, I don't want to be any part of that.
Hear, hear. I totally agree with that.
But anyway, before the dead bodies were off of the field where the concert took place, Hilary Clinton put out a statement about gun control. And I think that's wrong. I think politicizing it before the morgue picks up the bodies is just, it's not right.
Yeah.
And who does that help? Or who does that advance? Certainly not a person, maybe a politician. And that would probably be only in the politician's eyes.
Right. Yeah.
But it's very sad. And I just don't want to see any more of this. And these people are going to be devastated. I fear that we will lose more. The last count I have is 59 dead, 523 wounded.
Wow.
Many of them are back in surgery today. I just heard that. It's really horrible.
That is horrible. It just makes you ill.
Yeah. And oh my gosh, Vegas is one of the safest feeling places I've ever been. I would never walk down on the square in Springfield at night. But in Vegas and Manhattan, I have felt perfectly safe. I mean, people walk around counting money on the street. I mean, you can't do that in any other city. And they're safe because they do security right there. I mean, it's kind of like Israel. They're very serious about security in Vegas. And okay, so now remember the what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas?
Yeah.
Now they're talking about having to check your bags before you go up. When you check into your hotel room. Now think about all the guys traveling for their bachelor parties. That's just not going to go. It's not going to fly. I mean, they're taking stuff in. I mean, regardless how you feel about it, that they don't want checked. And so they won't go.
Yeah.
I mean, and apparently somebody's already thought about that because MGM, their stock dropped this morning significantly.
Well, it's only, common sense that this is going to hurt tourism. This is going to hurt Vegas a lot.
A lot, yes. And investors have already decided that this morning. They're taking a hit.
Ouch.
Yeah. I would say it's going to be serious, and it's bad because 2008, the big recession really hit Vegas harder than it even hit other places. And they had just now, in the past couple of years, started to make a comeback. This year in particular. And now they got hit with this. I say it's going to be devastating, especially to those that barely withstood the 2008 financial fallout. I say that you're going to see some doors closed if they lose business now.
No doubt it's going to affect us all in one way or another.
Another devastating issue is Puerto Rico. Now, prior to these two hurricanes, Puerto Rico was in bankruptcy. And now the roads, they can't get goods through their roads. They have no power. because they need power to pump their water. They do not have water. The other day, Delta was sending flights filled with Puerto Ricans to Chicago for free, getting them the heck out of there. Now, today, President Trump.
Wow.
Bush, I'm going way back.
Yeah, that was quite the flashback there.
Puerto Rico, where, of course, him and the mayor of San Juan have had some choice words for one another on Twitter, but they're going to meet today. I think that's just silliness. So
yes.
We probably won't go too far into that. But the Puerto Ricans have been migrating to Florida. You and I talked about this. Florida's population has gone up in the past decade by about 12 million, maybe in less than a decade. I say that when Puerto Ricans leave there, many of them won't return because it was already a financial devastation. The power company has misappropriated money. They have no money to fix the power. Wow. A few $1 billion has been pocketed and not used for its private power. Private has not been used by the private power company. Now, what are we going to do? We don't generally make power companies federal.
Yeah. Huh.
But would we consider that? Will this rush Puerto Rico to become a state? I believe it just went through the Congress again, didn't it? And it didn't pass again. I mean, first of all, they're kind of broke, so it's kind of like taking on a liability. I'm for making the mistake personally. I know that may not be a popular conservative, but I figure we might as well.
Well, I never really realized that Puerto Rico was, the redheaded stepchild of the United States. This is all kind of new to me. And the first time I even heard about all of this was when we talked about it previously on the podcast.
Right. Yeah, it is like the redheaded stepchild, and we could just make it a state. The people really want it now. I believe originally back in the 50s or 60s, I think I remember my dad telling me the people didn't really want it because it meant they would need to pay more taxes. Now they need us desperately. It is devastated beyond. There is no infrastructure left. I mean, the mayor at San Juan was griping about, people are dying. They really only 16 people died, which is too many. Right. But she was kind of exaggerating. But she kind of has a point. If you take the goods off the ships, you got to have truckers. The truckers cannot get through. And even if they could, they can't get gas. Most gas pumps need electricity to pump the gas. So what you got is just a catch-22. You're damned whatever way you go. If you find a trucker, you can't get him gas. If you get him gas, the roads and bridges are down. So what do you do? I mean, eventually people will start dying.
Another sad situation.
A very sad situation. I mean, and, we still have Florida. We still have Texas trying to recuperate from their hurricanes. It's been a really bad month. I started thinking about, I always like to draw this back to your conspiracy theories just so I can thrill you for the day. Remember when the Mayan calendar ended in 2012, and this was supposed to be an indicator that life was changing. Usually when we read into these predictions by ancient civilizations and prophets or quasi-prophets like Nostradamus and such. We always imagine it's the end of the world, even though they kind of tell us it's a turning point. Like Nostradamus said, when the new century comes, now I'm paraphrasing clearly.
Right.
I don't speak ancient French.
No?
In quatrains, especially. Okay, when the new century comes, it's a turning point. Either it is going to be very peaceful, with less organized religion and more, what do you call it? New Age type
Right.
spirituality.
Right.
Or it's all going to go to hell in a handbasket. And we're going to have storms, we're going to have fires, we're going to be starving, and we're going to be fighting.
Which is pretty much it.
Pretty much what's happening. Okay, and everybody goes, oh, well, nothing happened. Bull, hockey.
Yeah.
Okay, the Mayans said 2012 will bring in a new era. Everybody goes, ooh, the world's going to explode. No, it would change. Things would be different. You know what? I think they damn well got it right.
Yeah.
Because things are different.
Oh,
I don't know.
And things are changing rapidly, too.
Oh, my gosh, it's so rapid. And it's like karma and people and, you have Brexit. You've got politics we're at polar opposites. There is no middle ground. And all of these spiritual doctrines, what do you call them? I don't want to call it a religion.
Right.
Teach us to find a middle ground. Balance is found in the center. And if you can't find it in the center, then get somebody on the other side that balances you out.
Yeah.
It's like a teeter-totter.
Exactly. You don't want to tip the apple cart.
We are not teeter-tottering.
Yeah.
We're jumping off the top and letting the other person land in the dirt.
You bet.
And it's terrible. And with that comes, we've had all these disasters. You're up there getting the hot weather. I'm down here freezing to death, not being able to swim.
Yeah.
If we can't find balance, it's like I tell my kids, families are like the remote control that needs batteries. When one battery goes bad, that damn thing won't work.
Yeah.
Even if the other one's perfectly fine. It's something to think about. And a little bit of breaking news today. Tom Petty passed away.
I know. I am heartbroken again.
I do not like losing these rock and rollers, and he was far too young. And it's very sad. And I worry about some of these guys that, they live alone, and he had a heart attack. He laid there. Probably a housekeeper or something found him. They took him to the hospital. By that point, it was too late. Even if you're not that old, you need somebody checking on you. He probably could have lived. That's just my 2 cents,
Yeah.
Also, the U.S. has sent the Cuban diplomats home. We covered this 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Right.
The sonic boom.
Political potpourri.
We sure did. And Cuba and Canadians and American diplomats have suffered from headaches, loss of hearing, and the other day they said some certifiable neurological damage. Now that's crazy, and like we said, all on the heels of Obama being so nice to them. So that stinks. And I hope these people can get better. It sounds like something that they may have to face for a while.
Yeah, this is a very, very odd story.
It is an odd story, and I really think that...
what is their motivation?
Castro, have we ever figured out his motivations?
I guess not.
I mean,
Not much
outside of
makes sense
power.
there.
I mean, it's kind of like Kim Jong. It's power, power, power over his people. I mean, the psychologists say that they're not really trying to gain power over like the United States and China or something to that effect. And Cuba would be, in the old days, Russia and the United States. But that they want their people to believe they have power over these larger superpowers.
Yeah.
That's part of that psychological profile, because that's how they keep power over their own people.
Well, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, but we don't always agree. But life's a journey, and we're all in this together. Thanks for listening. Godspeed, Connor. Godspeed to all the victims out there. And Godspeed to our friends listening.
Godspeed, everybody.
Dueling Dialogues is brought to you by our affiliates at IX Web Hosting. Click the banner on the rightleftchronicles.com to get up to 40% off your first year of the best hosting on the planet. Today's episode of Dueling Dialogue is brought to you by Saucy Eva. GMA's marinade is coming soon to a plate near you to gourmetize your meats and proteins.